Good afternoon. This is the world news on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. I am MODUPE AKINYOSOYE. Here are the top stories. President Tinubu declares end to fuel scarcity. A fuel subsidy, I beg your pardon. Ipman opposes Tinubu's subsidy removal plan, cues return. Governor Abiodun grants pardon to 49 inmates, converts death sentence on 3 to life imprisonment. And business President Tinubu vows to review narrow design policy, promise to remodel the economy. On the foreign scene, Uganda President Yoweri Museveni signs anti-gay bill. In sports, Napoli set to offer Victor Osimhen new contract. Details of these and more coming up shortly. Welcome back. Now the news in details. Nigeria's new president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says the era of subsidy payment on fuel has ended. He said the 2023 budget made no provision for fuel subsidy, and more so, subsidy payment is no longer justifiable. President Tinubu declared this in his inaugural speech at the Eagle Square on Monday. The president said security shall be top of his administration, adding that he will reform security architecture, invest more in security personnel, better training, and provide better equipment for security personnel. Several countries on Monday presented goodwill messages and letters of support to President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. In a statement issued by an aide to President Tinubu, Tunde Rahman, the countries included the United Kingdom, United States, Saudi Arabia, Japan, Brazil, South Korea, Israel, Cape Verde, Somalia, and Nicaragua. The letters were presented to President Tinubu by the country's special envoys and heads of mission. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has urged President Bola Tinubu to work tirelessly towards finding lasting solutions that will improve the livelihoods of the people of Nigeria. The CAN president, Daniel Oko, in a congratulatory message, described the inauguration as a momentous occasion, adding that he wished President Tinubu well. He said there is much work to be done to address Nigeria's challenges, including security and economic struggles. He expressed optimism that Tinubu will engage active citizen participation regardless of political, ethnic, and religious leanings to build a better Nigeria. Former President Muhammadu Buhari is back in his hometown in Daura, Katsina State after the end of his 8-year tenure. Buhari had left Eagle Square in Abuja immediately after Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima were sworn in as president and vice president, respectively. On arrival at the airport, the former president and his wife, Aisha, were received by the newly sworn-in governor of Katsina State, Diko Rada, his deputy, Farouk Jobe, alongside the State All Progressives Congress chairman, Mohammed Sani. In Daura, the former president was welcomed by scores of his jubilant kinsmen, including the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Farouk Umar, and other traditional rulers in the state. Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, has granted prerogative of mercy to 49 inmates in different correctional centers in the state. The governor announced this during his inaugural address on Monday. The governor also signed a warrant ordering the death sentences imposed on 3 death row convicts be immediately converted to prison sentences. Governor Abiodun explained that a convict who have received the gesture are inmates who have served long prison sentences, with some having been in prison for more than 20 years. The newly sworn-in governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, has announced that his administration intends to employ a minimum of 5,000 teachers to address the teachers' shortage in primary and secondary schools in the state. Speaking during his inaugural speech at the Umuahia Township Stadium on Monday, Governor Oti said the move was part of his administration's commitment to rebuild the school system. The governor also declared a state of emergency on refuse disposal and waste management in Umuahia, the state capital, and Aba, the commercial nerve center of the state. In another development, the newly Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Yasin Alia, on Monday ordered the placement of post-no debit on all banks' accounts of the state. The governor, who inherited 187 billion naira debt from his predecessor, Samuel Autumn, declared that the state account will remain frozen until all signatories are changed. Governor Al-IyamoyeTv announced that his administration would undertake a review of the anti-open grazing law passed during Autumn's administration. He described the law as controversial, saying it needed to be reviewed to accommodate current realities. You are listening to the world news on Al-IyamoyeTv and the radio. Still to come, business, foreign and sport news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us to the rest of the news. In business news, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed to review the Naira redesign policy implemented by his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari. President Tinubu made the announcement in his inaugural address at the Eagle Square in Abuja on Monday. He noted that the current 18.5% interest rate of the Central Bank of Nigeria is too high. He assured investors that multiple taxation will be reviewed to attract fresh foreign direct and local investment, even as they promised 1 million jobs in the digital economy. Still on business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and PCL has welcomed the pronouncement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the removal of fuel scarcity or fuel subsidy, Speaking at an emergency press conference in Abuja on Monday, hours after the pronouncement, the Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, told Nigerians that the move was in the best interest of the company. According to Kyari, the company has been spending a substantial amount of its profits in the subsidy of the product. Kyari, however, said there was no need for panic buying as fuel queues had been noticed in some areas of the FCT. He noted that the company had enough product to supply the country for the next 30 days, adding that it was monitoring its supply and distribution networks across and around the country. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has opposed the plan by President Bola Tinubu to enforce his predecessor's decision to remove fuel subsidy by June ending. Tinubu had earlier on Monday in Abuja affirmed that his administration would not continue to pay subsidy on petroleum products. He said, given the high opportunity cost the federal government was suffering to fund subsidies, it was no longer justifiable to continue. However, reacting on Monday, Ipman said it opposed the new president's subsidy removal plan. The National Public Relations Officer, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Ukadike Chinedu, said the new government should dialogue with marketers before taking the decision to remove subsidy. Chinedu added that Nigeria's refinery should be fixed before taking such decision that will cause galloping inflation and inflict more hardship on the masses. He also advised that the government of President Tinubu should not adopt what is in the transition document and over to him by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari because it was what he is unable to do for 8 years and government that he is advising the new government to embark on. He said Ipman was ready to work with the new government and would prefer measures to address the fuel subsidy regime instead of effecting an outright halt in subsidy. And barely a few hours after Tinubu's announcement on subsidy, fuel queues resurfaced in Abuja, Lagos, and some states. Motorists besieged fueling stations in these areas, engaging in panic buying. On the foreign scene, President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, has signed into law the controversial anti-homosexuality bill. The bill had drawn criticism and condemnation from Western countries and human rights activists. Homosexual acts are already illegal in Uganda, but now anyone convicted faces life imprisonment. The legislation imposes the death penalty for so-called aggravated cases, which include having gay sex with someone below the age of 18 or where someone is infected with a lifelong illness, including HIV. And in the world of sport, Napoli are reportedly set to offer Victor Osimhen a new contract as they look to keep the striker despite strong interest in him from different club sides. Manchester United, Chelsea, PSG and Monaco are some of the clubs reportedly tracking the Nigerian international, who is the top scorer in Serie A this season with 25 goals. Napoli are preparing to offer Osimhen, who currently earns £3.9 million a year, a lucrative new deal. The contract for the 24-year-old would also include a release clause of £138 million. Chelsea on Monday announced Mauricio Pochettino as the new manager. The Argentine agreed a 2-year contract with an option for an additional year and will return to the Premier League 4 years after being sacked by Chelsea's London rivals Tottenham. The 51-year-old had been out of work since being dismissed by Paris Saint-Germain in July 2002. Pochettino, who will begin his new role on July 1, replaces Frank Lampard after the former England midfielder returned to Chelsea as caretaker boss until the end of the season. To end the world news, a quick recap of the major news. Reported that President Tinubu declared end to fuel subsidy. Ibman opposed Tinubu's subsidy removal plan. Queues returned. Reported that Governor Abiodun granted pardon to 49 inmates converted death sentences on 3 to life imprisonment. In business, we said President Tinubu vowed to review Naira redesign policy and promised to remodel the economy. On the foreign scene, Uganda President Yoweri Museveni signed anti-gay bill. And in sport, reported that Napoli set to offer Victor Osimhen a new contract. The World News was edited and produced by Oluwafisayomi Ajibola. For more news and updates, you can follow us on all social media on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, on Twitter at Al-Iyamoye_TV. You can also stream live by logging on to our website, www.Al-IyamoyeTVradio.com. Thank you so much for listening. I am MODUPE. AKINYOSOYE. Good afternoon.